morning. Welcome to NUFC Talk TV, where today we are going to have a quick look at the preview and obviously get a bit of an understanding of what's going on at Fulham as we play them on Saturday at home, 3 o'clock kickoff. So we have the lovely Mighty Win, my right-hand man next to me, who's obviously going to be obviously questioning everything I say because that's what he does. Naturally, absolutely. But before we go into the game on Saturday, let's obviously do the housework. So again, welcome to everyone that's watching across all of the platforms. Thanks to everybody working tirelessly in the background. Our main man as well, whose birthday, boy, it is. Happy birthday, Chris. I don't know whether it's today or whether it was yesterday. But happy birthday anyway, buddy. Don't forget to smash that like button.
It's all very quiet, apart from making it an excuse for ducking out of a show. I think he's one of these guys who just has a birthday when he fancies it.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what you can do. You can do us a massive favour and give Chris a lovely birthday present by smashing the like button. And obviously, it just helps us get further to other NUFC supporters. And again, subscribe. It's totally free. You don't have to pay a penny. Hit the bell for future content. We do 7 days a week, really. Sometimes we double up on shows. So as soon as you hit that bell, you will be informed of a show coming your way. If you want to help us grow, you can become a member for a small monthly fee. And you get a chance, obviously, of winning a prize at the end of each month. We have a giveaway. Don't forget to check out our webpage, nufctalk.tv, for news and content. Totally ad-free. Like I say, if you've got a spare 5 minutes, as soon as we get the information from a decent source, we will put it on there. If you've got a question for either me or Win throughout the show, put a Q in front of it. If it's relevant, we'll try and mention it. But if you want to guarantee it, you can use the $sign. Throw us a super chat, and that will guarantee that message read out for anybody that's a member or gifts memberships or anybody that becomes a new member. We will highlight you and thank you as we go. So, how are we this fine morning?
Well, not so bad, man. Not so bad. I put in a late shift last night with the American mags. So that was good fun. Seeing Ian back
on the show. Again. Yeah, exactly.
We discovered that offshore Billy, who comes on most of the chats, it was Ian that recruited him when he lived back in Baltimore. He's just moved now to Massachusetts, but yeah, all good. Looking forward to the week. That's every week's a good week when you've had a win behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like I said, there is loads and loads of gossip out there about players leaving, other teams now coming on board, Marseille coming on board for the likes of Kelly, showing some interest. But I think, what we're going to do, we're going to use that for another show because at this present moment in time, it's all hearsay. So obviously, as soon as something happens, you will get one of us jump on board and we'll do a live session on any news that we find relevant. So, like I say, without further ado, we have got a little bit of a new system because Chris is in the background doing a lot of the work. So I'm going to ask my mate Mighty Win to keep an eye on anything relevant in the chat. And I'll try and keep my eye on what Chris is saying in the background because obviously we've got a couple of ways of communicating. We're so advanced, these days. Gone are the days of the technophobes. You know what I mean?
I'm still here.
I'm going to say let's wait till the end of the show before we say any more. So anyway, without further ado, let's have a quick look at the predictions. So this is obviously what people have predicted for the show. For the Fulham game, we've got a Newcastle win of 89%, a Fulham win of 3%, and a draw coming in at 8%. So again, heavily favoured towards the win, Mighty. So it's
listen. Why shouldn't it be?
Well, listen. I agree.
10 out of 11. We had the blip against Bournemouth. Now, my worry is my big worry is that yes, we beat Wolves right down at the bottom. Yes, we beat Southampton right down at the bottom. But we didn't play as well in those games or against Bournemouth. So in other words, the last 3 games, our performance hasn't been sparkling. In particular, ball retention in the middle of the park.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that worries me because Fulham are a good side.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, there's a couple of players that we've mentioned previously. You know, we've said, and I made the statement about as Tonali come on and like quashed a little bit of J7 because obviously we see the amount of grass that Tonali covers. It just seems to me as if like J7 seems to be overshadowed a little bit now. Um, and obviously, before where he was one of our mainstays in midfield, the dogged person that would get the ball back. He does seem to be making, or it's certainly highlighted a few more mistakes now than it did previously. So maybe that's the reason why he looks as if he's struggling a little bit. But again, you know, a dip in form doesn't mean that you're a bad player
No, no.
because we all know what J7 brings to the side. So
Form is
that's
temporary, class is permanent.
he's permanent, yeah, and he's certainly thriving in the side. I'm not saying he's it's all negative. So for me, that's a positive. But I want to say, I want to bring to your attention that it's 3 years today that we signed Bruno. That's it's like a happy birthday on Bruno's arrival.
Well, that was
So
one hell of a birthday present 3 year ago then for Mr.
for
Rodriguez,
Mr.
wasn't it?
Rodriguez, it went off. Yeah, absolutely. Um, but you know what I've read this morning? Now
And
again, I don't.
you wouldn't realise how good a present it was when you got it,
No, he wouldn't
because I
actually.
don't think any of us did.
No, none of. Well, to be fair, I think the lad's been outstanding. Absolutely
Yeah.
phenomenal player. And from the point of view, excuse me, from the point of view of him now playing, across that three, we know he can play anywhere, and he seems to be excelling now in that 8 role. He seems to be enjoying his football again. And like I say, when you saw the celebration with him and Tonali after Tonali's goal, when he jumped on the back of Tonali, when he went towards the crowd, you can just see what it means to him, as captain. And like I said, he's had his critics during this season about should he wear the armband and everything else. He may not say a lot on the field, but when the team does well, he's the first one to push any of the players forward to get the crowd or towards the crowd to acknowledge them. And I love that. To me, that just emphasises where these guys are as a unit together. I think that's amazing. Um,
And
but anyway, let's.
the other thing about Bruno, by the way, is he's been here 3 years, other than for tactical reasons. Oh, no, actually, he even played against Bromley, didn't he?
He did, yeah, yeah,
Uh, he's played every game bar the game that he was, suspended,
suspended, yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
I mean, that's what I said. He's been fantastic.
So availability is the best ability, and boy, have we had that off Bruno.
Yeah, exactly,
Uh,
exactly.
in the same time, to put it into perspective, I've just pulled it up now just for to make sure I wasn't talking through my rear end, as I sometimes am accused of doing.
No, not you.
Uh, in the time that Bruno has now played, I would suspect probably 90 games. Mr. Callum Wilson has played 30.
Wow, that's
so,
unreal, isn't it?
so that puts things in perspective, doesn't it?
Well,
Not
absolutely.
just a brilliant player, but ever present, always available,
Always available.
and
Yeah,
and
yeah,
always. He's not always stellar, he's not always eights and nines, but he's always sixes and sevens
yeah.
and above.
Well, like I say, he's very well. I can't remember any performance where he's dropped under a six. Like I say, he's never done amazing, but he's made mistakes. I mean, I'm not saying
Yeah,
he's
oh, yeah. Well, he's made a lot of mistakes. We know that. We've
yeah,
commented
yeah.
that.
individually, but like for me, he's been a stalwart in that midfield. Same as J7, to be fair. Apart from that time where he was injured with that quad tear,
Yeah,
he
but
has is another one that's been there. Apart from, like I say, being banned, being suspended.
that's the trouble. He's been banned more because I mean, you remember that run that Bruno went through when he had to keep his nose clean for like 10 games,
Yeah.
and we didn't think it was going to be possible, but he did, and he's still the most fouled player in the Prem. So yeah, thank you, Bruno, for 3 years. Long may it continue.
Long may it continue indeed. Right then. So let's get into the nooks and crannies of today's show, I suppose. So it's Fulham. So I am I'm going to jump over directly. And you can see the Fulham stats here. First of all, I think we need to have a look at the away form compared to their home form, because it is slightly better than their home form, their away form. So they've played 11 away games. They've won 4, drawn 4, and lost 3. 16 goals for and 13 against, with a +3 goal difference. And as you can see, points per game, averaging about 1.45. So out of the last 5 games away from home, they've drawn 2, won 2, and lost just the 1. So again, this is where we say about Fulham are a decent side, but they're more of a decent side away from home. Only slight, but like I say, they will put up a challenge. And as you can see, just to the right, you've got the table, and obviously you've got the win percentages and everything else. So at the minute, Newcastle are just ahead with the win challenge, because it's 52% to their 35. It doesn't really give you a lot of stats, but what interests me is when we go a little bit further down. And again, you can see 36% chance of away win, 36% chance of a draw, and only 27% chance of a loss. So that's the form that they've carried with them away from home. So again, nothing there that you could say it's going to be a guaranteed win. But again, when you look at current form, we should have enough to see us home. Just
Also, what did for us last season, and indeed the season before, uh, was the number of draws that we had. And
yeah.
Fulham have had 9 draws this season. You know, if they had turned 2 or 3 of those draws into wins,
Yeah.
they'd be right up there with us.
Absolutely, and that's what we were saying the other day about Fulham when we were talking about them, because some of the results against lesser sides, the likes of Leicester, Southampton, where they've dropped points, but they've gained them against the likes of Chelsea. So again, it always seems to me is you're not really 100% sure of what Fulham team are going to turn up. So it will be an interesting point of view regarding this one. Going on to the rest of the tables, because obviously you can see here the goals for and everything else, how much they concede. But the one thing that interests me is when we come down to the bottom, you can see here Fulham scores and fixtures stats. So this is just the Premier League away from home. Their main time, they seem to start really slowly away from home, and they only score 25% of any of their away goals in the first 39 minutes. After 39 minutes, 75%. So as you can see, it's 0.66 goals before, just under 2 goals after. So that shows to me that this team won't lie down and just let you beat them. They'll try and keep it tight away from home for the first half, and then obviously they'll come at you in the second half. Now, somebody will obviously say that could be quite negative, and potentially that's some of the reasons, or potentially one of the reasons why they haven't been as successful away from home against lesser sides. Because if they do concede, which as we go down a little bit further, you'll see they have a tendency of conceding quite early on. It's
And
whether they've got the quality.
that's the point I was going to make. They do have a tendency to concede early on, and Newcastle are literally top of the league
When
in
it comes to
terms of winning games from a winning position.
yeah, so obviously that we've got the averages, if you like, here for Fulham and Newcastle of 2.73 goals is an average. And then, as you can see, BTTS, which is both teams to score, is 50%. So it's split. And they think there's a 46% chance of there being more than 2.5 goals. So, again, I'm not going to try. I don't want to edge anybody's predictions out there. All this is showing you is what's happened previously with Fulham games. And we'll go to the last game that they played, which was Leicester. And as you can see, both goals came in the second half against West Ham. They lost, but again, both of their goals came in the second half, and it's a pattern all the way down. And that to me shows me a team that's going to be dogged and not lie down. They're going to try and obviously put the pressure on. As towards the end of the game, regardless of what the score is. Like I say, they were 2 goals down against West Ham, and they managed to get a couple of goals in the second half, but unfortunately, they conceded one in between that to finally lose 3-2.
Just out of interest, guys, what are the you can see where the goals are.
Yeah.
What are the black? Are they shots on target or something?
That's conceded, mate. That's what I said. They're the ones that are conceded. So all the black balls are the goals conceded. And as you can see, they do concede a few goals in the first half. And that's what makes it
right.
difficult
So
for them.
I'm thinking that those lines coincide with the fixtures alongside them.
Got you. So the numbers down the side here are obviously goals. In the reds, it's a loss. Obviously, orange, it's a
That looks
win.
like a caddy. I haven't been on that site before.
This one, I love this site because it gives you some type of understanding of the strengths and weaknesses of opposition teams. I jump on this just for pure percentages. I don't ever get my prediction from this, but it does give you a great understanding of where they are in the last 5 games because we've often said you've mentioned it we've won 10 in 11. And it means if you was to look at it from a neutral's perspective, it's a win without even looking at how we've played. And as you said just earlier, we haven't played outstanding. What we've done is we've shown like Tonali's goal. For me, that was one of the best team goals I've seen this season. And it was driving from that 6 to win the ball. Isak's positioning to chest it to Gordon. Gordon's first in-step volley into space. Tonali didn't even have to break his stride on that ball. It was just perfect all the way through. And even Isak's second goal after the penalty. The ball from Murphy was driven. It was technically really difficult to get his body shape or his foot shape to push the ball through. So, like I said, if you were to look on paper, it should be a win without worry. But as you've already said, it's not that case. And this gives you some idea of exactly where Fulham are and how Fulham play, because obviously it's the second half for me that we've got to be aware of. And it's like I say, you can go in a goal up. It doesn't mean that you win the game going into the second half. So we have to be on our mettle. We have to be on our toes. I mean, you've mentioned it. What have you seen? I mean, I know you watch a lot of Premier League football, a lot more than I do, of other teams. What have you seen from Fulham this season that you like? Because obviously we know Silva's a good manager, he's a good coach, and Fulham aren't an elite team, but they have got 1 or 2 players that can surprise you.
Number one, I love Robinson. He's having a hell of a season. Anthony Robinson.
Tony
The Yank,
Robinson.
we were talking about him on the
Yeah,
Yank show yesterday.
yeah.
I think he's right up there with Lewis Hall in terms of best left back in the country. Uh,
Right,
and Traore has done a bit of a Semenyo, whereas Semenyo and Traore, for me, both used to be skinny little pacey wingers. I don't know what supplements they've been taking or whatever, but they're proper beefsteaks now.
right.
Uh, and they've still got the pace, but they've now got the muscle to fend defenders off. Where once upon a time they would have been knocked off the ball. Now they just get through. Traore, I think we've got to be really wary of. Robinson, we've got to be wary of, and Harry Wilson is having the season of his life. And then and
Yeah,
then they've and then they've got the two kids that they've got from Arsenal, Reece Nelson and Smith Ward.
yeah. Or
So,
Smith Rowe,
you
you
know,
mean?
it's good, and they've got a good manager as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like, I had,
They're a bit of they're a bit of a Brentford. I think they're on a par with Brentford in terms of what the manager's able to do with the players as at his disposal. And I think Fulham have got slightly better players all round than what Brentford have got, which accounts for why they're slightly above them in the table.
yeah, of course. But you're right. I mean, like I say, Anthony Robinson, he's come out with 9 assists this season.
Yeah,
He certainly
he's
seems to
doing
be
for them
shining
what Trippier did for us
in his glory day. Yeah,
in his
exactly.
glory days. Yeah,
And even the likes of Raul Jimenez, up front for them, because I thought he'd seen his day, and he seemed to have dropped out of the squad for a lot of the time. But he seems to have found his scoring shoes again. And obviously, we know Alex Iwobi coming in
well,
off that
that's what
left
I
hand
say.
side.
I think Iwobi's probably their main threat now, as opposed to, apart from Traore. I think Iwobi for me is out. The stats don't say so, I don't think, but for me, he's more of a threat than what Jimenez is.
Yeah. So this is quite a nice little ditty at the bottom here, and I don't know whether it comes up on the screen very easily, but it says Fulham's 24-25 top scorer list is led by Raul Jimenez, who is the most lethal player in front of goal with 8 goals scored. The rest of the list is follows, and as you can see, now that one was interesting for me because when I looked at the most lethal player in front of goal, I beg to differ because we've got one of our own. And obviously, I can understand why these guys look at, like I said, he seems to have found his scoring boots again. Um, but he's nowhere near Isaac, is he? When you look
No,
at natural scorers, natural forward players, Isaac this season seems to me as if he's excelled from last. He seems to be a different player mentally. Yes, he had his blip, but he seems to be better this season. And again, you go on to, this lad's not a young boy. He's coming, obviously, he's peaking at this point, which is Anthony Robinson at 27-year-old. And obviously, then you've got Traore, who's obviously Mr. Muscle. That Chris seems to love his stature. And then you come down to a couple of the appearances, and again, very similar to Newcastle. They seem to have the same names on the team sheets on a regular basis. So very rarely do they swap and change their side. Um, and again, apart from Lukic, who seems to be very card happy, everybody's in that same vein. It's nothing. There don't seem to be a dirty side whatsoever. So interesting set
unlike
of
Bournemouth.
stats there. Yeah, unlike Bournemouth, exactly, who seem to just want to kick everybody in front of them. Um, which is strange. And I'm just going to go onto this screen because obviously this is your first and second half. Now, if you look at these two stats here, you can see the difference between their home and away performances. The first half, again, it shows you that they really go at it in the first half at home, and they try and get the results because their goals for Column and against Column shows you the difference. In the away fixtures, it's more the second half that they seem to want to really go for the jugular, keep it tight in the first half, and then really come out and start playing in the second half. And this is the other stat that I wanted to show everybody. And they think it's going to be a tight first half because they're not expecting many goals. They reckon a 70% chance of less than one goal in the first half, and 55% chance of scoring. But when you go into the second half, as you can see, it jumps up to the 91 to 64%, depending on what they've got to try and achieve. So anything over
I
a
was going to say
goal.
that would seem to contradict the more than 3 goal prediction.
Well, obviously, the more than 3 goal prediction is both teams to score. So again, what's happened? Their natural progression with the ball seems to be that whatever the opposition have scored, they'll try and compete within the second half to try and get the tally equal, if not better. That's why they seem to be. It seems to be quite a strange setup that Silver's trying to do here. Try and keep it tight in the first half,
Mark,
but then go.
KK Silver.
Yeah.
You, we'll score one more than you.
That's
We're gonna score
score one more than
than
you.
you.
Yeah. So again, it seems as if the draw is an average point of view away from home. So that's what they'll be looking for. So yeah, a little bit of an interesting just look at the team. Like I say, it's I think it's still ours for the taking. I don't think there's anything you can pick from that you could say. And I mean, listen, we've done this in the past where we've looked at individual players to come in. Um, do you think there's going to be a change to the Newcastle setup? Do you think there's going to be
Well, you've
anything?
got you've got the two big questions, haven't you? Who's going to go centre back?
Yeah,
Which two players are going to go centre back?
well, yeah, absolutely.
Um, I honestly can't see him dropping Burn. Uh, not just because I love him, but because his form's been pretty spectacular this season.
Yeah, yeah.
Shares hasn't,
No, well,
but but hello,
who's
Chris
coming with that?
gifted. Chris,
Chris has gifted Matt. Oh, 5. Thank you, Chris.
and they have gone
So,
to Faye Crossling. Hello, Faye. Haven't seen you
yeah,
before.
hello, Faye. Welcome to the channel.
And hello, Kenneth. Oh, yeah, I think I have had Kevin Kier in before. Geordie Banter. Hello, Geordie Banter. Oh, look at this stuff. Smoky Mo. Hello, Smoky Mo. And Scooby were gifted memberships by Chris. And then lo and behold, hot on their heels, we've got Brant in the building. Hello, Brant. You've had as much sleep as me. Brant's gifted 5 memberships, and
Hey, thanks, Brant.
they have gone to Lydia Raisbeck McMahon. There's another new name. Hello, Lydia. Or Linda, sorry, Linda. And Bruno was gifted a membership. Wayne Miller, another new name. Hello, welcome, Wayne. Get your thoughts in the chat. Bron Brecker, another new name. And Jake Baum 101. So
Wow.
welcome all you newbies,
All
I
your
think,
newbies.
unless you're just uh, silent watchers and don't participate much in the chat, but there's a lot of names there that I've never seen before. Welcome one and all.
Indeed.
Please
So,
keep the membership going. Once it's expired, it's only a couple of quid a month, and you get lots and lots of perks.
absolutely. So I've just been having a little bit of a look at how we have done against Fulham at home, and obviously we looked at them in 23. We beat them 3-0, and there was a red card during that game for Fulham. And that was in December of 23. In January of 23, we beat them 1-0 at home. In the last time we played them was 19th of December 20. And again, there was another red card for Fulham. And that ended up in a 1-1 draw. But obviously, then we're going into the Newcastle years with a totally different side. Again, what I'm trying to highlight is Fulham coming to St James's Park. They seem to have half a decent shout. It's a very tight game. It's very rarely a lot of goals, unless obviously it's been them, because obviously the last time we beat them by any major score was again that 16th of December 23, where we beat them 3-0 at St James's Park. But like I say, that was was it Jimenez got red carded that day? Can you remember? It was, wasn't it, when he did that jump into the side, wasn't it?
It was the 4-1 one, if that's the one you're on about. That was when John Joe Shelby.
No, that was the 3-0 one when we played them in the in December 23. And
was that when Shelby got booked and then the referee was told to go and...
No, Shelby wasn't in the side. It was in actual fact it was Dubs.
Yeah, because I'm saying I think it was 22. The 1-4. Shelby got... The referee booked Shelby for a tackle, and the VAR sent the referee to the monitor because it ended up with the kid that he was supposed to have fouled got sent off for putting his foot in the side of Shelby's ankle. Shelby was going to get booked. The referee booked Shelby, and then VAR sent them over to the thing where I said, oh, bloody hell, this is ridiculous. Because we were thinking not only should it not have been a foul, but it certainly wasn't a yellow card. And they said they're sending them over to the VAR. Shelby's going to get sent off, but in fact, it was the other way around. It was the Fulham kid who got sent off.
Yeah, that was Anderson that got sent off, wasn't it? He obviously made a play for Shelby, and that's when we played 4-4-2. And J7 was up front with Callum Wilson that day.
Yeah.
We had Clark and Fernandez as our two centre backs, with Dummett left back and Yedlin, I think it was, right back. And we had obviously Miguel Almiron playing left wing then, and Matt Ritchie was right wing. So a bit of a different time, wasn't it, back then? Yeah, but that seems to be a long time ago now, buddy.
Yeah, well, the thing
that
is,
was December 2020. That was. I've just had a look. December 2020.
Right, I'm just looking to see the last 10 games. Fulham have won 1.
Yeah,
but the previous 15 before that, we only won 4. They were our bogey team, but we seem to have turned that corner, including, of course, beating them in the cup down there.
Yeah, but again, we go to we are a different side altogether with a different makeup now, aren't we? And like I say, you look at that side where Jimenez got a red card for. Can't remember who he jumped into the side of. I've got Fabian Shaw comes to mind, but I can't remember. But I remember Jimenez getting a card, and obviously we went ahead and beat them on the day then 3-0. And Anthony Gordon scored. I think Miguel Almiron got an assist. But Gilmore's got an assist. And I can't remember who else scored. Did Anthony Gordon score a couple? Can't remember.
All of these wonderful victories just...
Oh, that was where Louis Smiley scored his one and only goal, wasn't it? Am I right in saying that?
You know what? I can't even remember Louis Miley's goal. There you go.
Because he came on for Joe Linton, who was injured, and I'm sure he scored the goal. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, we've got nothing to worry about when it comes to Fulham versus us. Um, but again, you know, and this is another thing. I'm going to throw this on the screen as we are talking, because I just have some understanding that this is going to be a lot to show for, and it goes on literally about our current form. And if I can, I'll just try and bring that up so you can see it a little bit better. Can you see that okay, Win? You can see we're in green, and we had our dip, and then we've got obviously come up, and we've got onto a little bit more of a dip, and Fulham seem to have just plateaued out a little bit. So again, you know, there isn't a lot going one way or the other. I just think if you were to look purely on player for player, I just think Newcastle just have far too much quality
Okay,
at home at St James's Park to be concerned too much. And it tells you here, you know, that some of the things. I'm going to find out who the referee is for this game. I still haven't looked at
I
that.
think it's Cavana.
Oh, is it Cavana?
I think so.
And you know, you start looking at all the greens for Newcastle, home
Yeah,
and
Chris
away, and
Cavana.
you can see. Go on, it is Chris Cavana.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you were saying that you wouldn't change the side at all.
No, I wouldn't. It's especially at home. You know, Shea has got his defensive deficiencies,
Yeah, yeah,
but you know, he's out of the three of them. He's the only one really who can give us creativity. You know, he's brought. You know, witness the third goal on Saturday. Just stupendous.
yeah, yeah. I just think, like I say, when you look at what they've got to offer in their side, you know, um, there is a couple of standout players that have really shone recently, but have they got enough in there to actually do anything at St James's Park? Don't get me wrong, I don't think we are good enough at this present moment in time to keep a clean sheet. I still agree with you when it comes to the back line. Shaw, as we saw again, he's guilty of at least one howler. If Shaw stays in the side, and again, it's whether the gaffer sees Botman as that right-sided centre back going forward, and I still think there's going to be a doubt for me on that. And again, you quite rightly say, you know, Burns' form at this present moment in time, as much as I believe he was part guilty of us conceding last week against Southampton, because there was no reason for him to go out wide to support Hall. He just went, you know, again, this is that mentality type thing, just going out of your position. If he'd have stayed more central when the ball came in, I'm not saying they wouldn't have scored, but I think there would have been a
Yeah, but
lot
all
better
I'm
of a
saying
challenge.
there, guys, is if he hadn't gone out wide, then it wouldn't have been a cross we're looking at, because the kid would have just run straight into the box and had a shot himself.
Well, you're right, but what I'm saying is you have then got bodies that can stop. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying Byrne was at fault for the whole thing. I'm just saying because other players around him, you know, and everybody criticised me because I was talking about, you know, why Gordon stayed quite central. And if you had a look at Lewis Hall on the pass map, they were very literally side by side.
Yeah.
And people were saying, well, you know, you can't say that because it was Gordon that was helping defend. Well, that goal begs to differ, and that's all I'm saying. I'm not blaming him per se because he was trying to stop something happening. But again, when you're a central defender and you're second captain on the side, that's when you've got to start throwing your finger at other players and saying that's your role, not mine. Because taking him out of that central position left us wide open, didn't it?
I've just here having a quick look at Chris Kavanagh's season stats.
Oh, crikey.
He's refereed 22 games.
Yeah.
He's issued 120 yellow cards. That's 6 per game.
Wow.
Just under 6 per game, and 4 red cards.
That's incredible.
So that is an awful lot of. He likes
He
brandishing
likes
the
to.
cards. Does walk Chris Kavanagh. Now that could
Yeah.
actually suit us, believe it or not, because we know how Bruno likes to get a free kick. It might not work so good with J7, but yeah. So some of the, you get this narrative, don't you? Oh, I love a referee. This is a good referee because he's letting play. He's letting play flow. He's letting play flow. When they're letting blatant fouls, in my opinion, be got away with, and,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that happened to a large degree on against Bournemouth, especially when it comes to persistent fouls. When you're
Yeah. Yeah.
getting it. The problem against Bournemouth was that, for example, Bruno and Gordon were fouled 4 and 5 times each in the first half. It wasn't the same person that was fouling them all the time. So it wasn't as though you could point to him and say, right, that's 2, that's 3, because they were all at it, every single one of them. And so you could argue that the fouls in themselves weren't worthy of a yellow card, but cumulatively they were. So that might not happen with this guy with a whistle in his hand.
No, exactly. Um, just on home and away performances again, if you look at a league table, Newcastle are currently in 8th position, playing at home. They've gained 20 points at home, playing just 11 games, winning 6, drawing 2, losing 3. And in our last 5 home games, we have drawn 1, won 3, lost 1. On the other hand, when again we go back to where Fulham are, Fulham's again sitting in 10th position, played 11, won 4, drawn 4, lost 3. As we said before, last 5 games they've gained 16 points away from home. They've drawn 2, won 2, and lost just the once. So again, on stats alone, regardless of where you are, they are. It's not going to be a gimme. And when you look at the pre-match standing. We are 6.99, and Fulham are down 5 places between us, but Fulham are still 6.96. So again, these aren't gimmies. So it's going to be an interesting battle. Looking forward to it. But like I say, there's still a lot of people, as you quite rightly say, Win, that are confident that we're going to get something from this.
Yeah, I've just gone for a sneaky 2-1, but I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park, but some people seem to think it is.
No, no. Again, it depends, doesn't it? Because if we hit the road as we have started and get a goal, does that give us that little bit of an impetus going forward? And I think that's the thing now. It's a case of, do we see this team changing the emphasis of the game? Like, we seem to be going really gung ho for a lot of teams. I mean, I've just been having a look at our recent form. You go back as far as Brentford over the last 10 games. 3-1 at home, and then we beat Aston Villa 3-0 at home. All really good quick starts, and
Well, we went through that run, didn't we? We scored in the first 5 minutes in
First
about
5 minutes,
5
exactly.
games on the trot.
And even, against Southampton, I mean, like I said, it wasn't the first 5 minutes for me was superb. I thought we were on the front foot. I thought we were really getting at them. And like I say, apart from the blip against Bournemouth, we couldn't seem to find our way out of a paper bag that day. We seem to be doing this more regularly now, out the blocks really quick, trying to take advantage of being obviously at home, getting that early goal. And then, as I remember seeing when I had a glance over at the screen, somebody had already put in, we'll go and revert when we haven't got the ball to that 5-4-1 or 4-5-1 system, just to make it really difficult for them. I just hope we're in a bit more of a better shape than we were against Bournemouth at home. But I'm sure we will be. I can't see us playing that poorly again as a collective this season. I may be wrong, but I can't see it.
Let's have a look at some comments, Baz, because
Yeah.
I'm
It's all
gonna
right,
have to.
Tom.
It was yesterday, says Chris, the American Margie's birthday.
There you go.
Right, this
I said it
game must win to carry the momentum to Arsenal, and that's MFS watching from New Zealand.
Hey, welcome on board.
Oh, yeah, watching from New Zealand. Darren Lee is saying, I like the way the club targeted some ex-accounts posting false rumours up,
Yeah.
and one of them is the James Trafford deal. If J7 is being considered our least good midfielder, then we've got a bloody good midfield. Indeed we have, Kevin.
Yeah.
Fulham have
Like I
been on
said, this isn't us being negative. All I'm saying to you is it seems to have been highlighted over recent games as Tonali stepped up, that J7 has stepped backwards a little bit, and whether that's affecting his game, I'm not sure.
Fulham have been on a poor run. They were dreadful versus Manure. Let's get them battered. 3-1 for me.
Oh, I'd love that. I'd love that.
We need to make our centre-back position younger and more pacey, says Trolls. Hello, Trolls. He's battling away and hitting posts. I think he's doing just fine. Who's this we're on about there? To kind of phrase. Sorry, mate. Who were we talking about?
I think you're talking about J7 because he did it the post the other day.
Oh, well, I mean, he could have had a hat trick before they scored.
Absolutely. And that's what I said. I'm not. This isn't me knocking the player. I don't want to sound as if I am taking him to task, because he is getting himself into good positions and supporting the forward line and helping the six role when Tonali goes on a run. He sits in.
There's an interesting thing by Dean there. Very interesting fact. J7 has looked back at the last couple of games. I would rest him for Fulham, so he's in tip-top condition for Arsenal next week. Miley is ready to step up, and his retention on the ball is class. Now, that's something that was said about J7 losing the ball on multiple occasions in the last couple of games, which Miley tends not to do.
No.
And also, now that in the light of what you were saying about how Tonali is to some degree making J7 redundant in his breakup play, with Tonali doing that on his behalf, does that then give Miley the chance to show us what he can do in the opponent's half?
Yeah.
I actually wouldn't be. I do not like the idea of breaking up Bruno, Tonali, and J7, because I think that is just
not unless it's, like I say, a requirement.
That's a
injury
unit.
or suspension.
But,
yeah, exactly.
But I wouldn't be averse to seeing that happen at all, Dean.
I wouldn't if it was a straight swap, but I have a feeling if that does happen, then it'll be Bruno that slots into the left-sided midfield position.
And I've often wondered that myself, Dean Young. Why does J7 wear that bandage all the time?
On his wrist.
On his wrist,
Yeah, a lot of players do, because they've obviously got a. It's called DISI. In actual fact, I suffer from it. So it's like a deformity.
Oh, I know
in
you're
the wrist.
dizzy.
It's DISI, but I can't tell you the full thing. It's a deformity in the wrist where the scaphoid bone doesn't form or hasn't got the right shape to match. So if you fall on your wrists, it's a weak point. So what these guys often do is just strap it up for extra support, but that's all.
If we sell anyone else that getting linked with a move, does anyone think we will pull the trigger on Yilmaz or Bargy?
Well,
I don't know, but we'll be probably discussing all of those
rumours.
rumours tonight.
Yeah.
We've just done that one. Alan McMurtry, hello Alan, good day guys. Yeah, one of Newcastle's best ever signings, special player. Enjoyed every minute. That's relating to Bruno's
Bruno.
3 years.
Absolutely.
You don't need to rest players from games. You give them 1 day off training, in my opinion. Yeah. Rugby analyst. Before Tonali came into the team, I loved Bruno as much as I used to love Cabai. Are you saying that Tonali has now taken over your favours from Bruno? No surprise he was in the top 2% of players in Europe when we. All right, so he's saying it was no surprise. Well, it was a surprise to me. I'd never heard of him
What with Bruno?
until we got linked with him, and I looked him up. But he was in the
Yeah.
top 2%. Top 2%. Who decides that? All the talk is top 5 get Champions League. However, that changes if either Man United or Tottenham win the Europa League,
With
which is
Europa.
good. Well, Stephen, it doesn't, because we've now looked into that. And even if Man United or Tottenham win the Europa League, we then get 6 clubs in the Champions League, which is what would have happened last year because the UEFA had told the Italian FA, yes, you will get 6 teams if Atlanta hadn't finished in the top. But as it was, Atlanta finished in the top 4 in Italy, and they won the Europa League, so it didn't come into play because they were already in. But that was why they got 5, but they would have had 6. So we don't have anything to worry about Man United pissing in our gravy this time around. Very decent away record. We need to be on our game and focused. Provided we show our true selves, we should win. I am confident. Good for you. Dean Young back in. Spurs or Man U could not win an argument. Never mind the trophy. They are both truly dreadful. Tangy Vivid. Hi, Tangy. Last game, Fulham played at home against Man United. Harry Wilson got injured. Oh, well, no, that's a point. Have you had a look at the injuries by any chance, Baz?
Gary.
Gaz.
I'm just going to have a quick
Beefcakes
gander.
like me. I'm rich.
I'm rich there. Yeah, exactly. Love a
Yeah,
bit of
not doubting
Amrit.
intelligence, but Cher should have headed that ball for the year. Well, that was
Yeah.
the Fulham were poor. Yeah, we've done that one.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we will win. I just hope we don't have an awkward performance before Arsenal too. Well, this is true. We need to be taking a bit of momentum into that game because 2-0 up, but stranger things have happened. To be fair, I'm not sure I blame the defence. We haven't started the last 3 or 4 well. Tired or half asleep or not motivating ourselves as it's only Wolves, Southampton, etc. Yeah, complacency must not be allowed to set in, and I don't think any will allow it to.
No.
J7's 2 games away from a 2-game suspension. He could miss any of Forest, Man City, Liverpool if he's not careful. Well, that could be another good reason for resting him tomorrow for Miley, because, of course, any that he picks up against Arsenal doesn't count because it's different competition.
No, that's true.
We can go above Forest if they lose. And they have Brighton. Yeah, and no worries if he plays Miley. Yeah, indeed. DX. If we could get Douglas Louise, then it would be worth contemplating offers for J7 or keep him as an option. No, nobody gets into my side ahead of J7.
Love that.
Darren Lee, let's hope we don't start bidding for players on the final day. It's a joke if we do. Well, the point is, again, we spoke about this last week. If you're going for players on the final day, it's not a case of bidding. It's a case of there's the money. Do you want it or don't you?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it does away with all this, nonsense that happened with Gay in the summer. And
Yeah,
finally,
regarding go on,
Peter
sorry, buddy.
McCardle, we are not signing anybody this window, only outgoing, says Peter.
No, and regarding their injuries, obviously they've got Tete out, and he's going to be ruled out for some time. Potential return, I believe, is April. Reece Nelson, another one out, but they reckon he could be on the way back. But probably a little bit too soon for the Newcastle game. And obviously Harry Wilson has been assessed because he got an ankle foot injury against Man U, didn't he? And I know Silva wasn't happy with that. He's got no return date, so he'll be missing from the Fulham side. And for me, that's a big loss for them.
Right. Got a couple of comments here where I've just, what have I done with them? We will batter them if Pereira is man marking Bruno, which is
Yeah.
difficult with Tonali in there now. Yeah. And there was another one more that I saw, which is, and this is not just this weekend. City and Arsenal play each other, so one of them's losing points. Bournemouth and Liverpool play each other, one of them's losing points. As has just been pointed out, Forest are playing Brighton, so they're going to lose points, and obviously they're not easy games.
Yeah.
So this is a brilliant chance for us to sneak ahead. And if you look at the fixtures for the next couple of weeks, obviously there are more of these type of fixtures now because that group that are vying for fourth and fifth is not. It's normally like 3 teams, so that the combination fixtures are rare. But when you've got that many teams, the number of fixtures automatically increases. As for us, for the next 3 weeks after this one, we've got City, Liverpool, and so on. This is again why it's so important that this is definitely what you would call a winnable game. We've got to do the job so that we can afford, a couple of lapses against City and Liverpool away.
Yeah. Just going on to Newcastle's injury list, obviously we know Jamal Lascelles, and he's got a potential return date of the 15th of February. Not sure whether that will happen, but obviously he's been running on grass since the end of October, so he should be involved in a lot of team build-up stuff now. So he's got a potential return halfway through the month coming up. Harvey Barnes is the same, so somewhere in the region of the 15th of February after his thigh injury. Again, it'll be great to see him back. But obviously, the potential of Callum Wilson returning for this match, or at least being obviously on the bench, if he has gone through his stint. They keep on saying he's on track to return for this
Well, they
game.
said
So
they
let's see.
said December, then they said January, then they said
Yeah,
February. So
yeah, we'll
it's
see.
going to be, well, it's not quite February, is it?
No,
Although it will be. Yeah,
no.
it'll be the first, won't it?
Yeah, but it will be interesting to see if Callum obviously comes back into the squad, or he's obviously just rested for this week to get a bit more strength. Because, like I say, he's just not been involved in anything, has he?
Where's that one?
No, I quite like that. The pyramid midfield with Tonali, Bruno, and Cunha just in front. I'd absolutely love that, sitting in the 10 slot, because that would certainly give us a little bit more power going forward. Because I still think it with this setup, as much as Eddie Howe obviously likes it, I still think we are missing massive when it comes to, obviously we see Isaac drop into the 10 slots to link up play with the midfield and then spin and turn in behind. It works sometimes, but again, when you're isolated like you was against Bournemouth, there's no outlet. There's never an outlet for any ball through the middle. And like I say, you've got to give credit where credit's due, because Bournemouth certainly did a job on Isaac. And interestingly enough, we've now been linked to one of the Bournemouth defenders after his You're muted still, buddy. You're muted. Win, you're muted.
Yeah, I'm saying
There
it,
you go.
and then all the worms will come out the woodwork again. Well, why do we only just buy from Bournemouth? You know?
Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, we were linked with Huyson before he went to Bournemouth.
Well, Hyson, yeah, but I don't think it's Hyson we're after.
No, it's the other one, isn't it?
Uh,
Like I say, he's been.
Gassy or something.
Oh, yeah, Geordie
It's
Dan
another
saying that
mouthful
it's.
that's going to take some getting a club song for. That's it. By the way, here on a lighter note, and by the way, I'll have to go in 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. I know
Um,
you've got to go.
Isn't it time Murphy had a song?
Hey mate, I've got one. I've actually written one, but like I say, I've put it on the X's front to sing along, but I don't think anybody will pick any notice of it.
What
But
to what tune?
well, it's just to a basic football chant, if you like. I'm not sure whether I've still got it. I'll see if I can find it for tonight's show because I know you've got to go. So literally in 5 minutes, ladies and gents, boys and girls. Obviously, there's lots of players from yesteryear that have played for both Fulham and Newcastle. Can you name them? Because that's the thing. Now I got 6 without looking at the list. I didn't realise.
I've got Hughes, Mitrovic.
Yeah.
What they call the left winger? Duff.
Yeah, Damien Duff.
We don't see many from them.
Now there's a lot.
What about the England national winger we got played for Spurs as well? Andre. Christian name begins with A.
Goma, Alan Goma, that one.
No, but he's another one actually.
Yeah, Alan Goma.
No, winger.
He
got a cap while playing for us.
Nielsen. There was Alan Nielsen.
There was, but I would never have got him.
Got him.
No, who's the kid?
Obviously, you're going to Louis Sahar and stuff like that. You see, these are the ones from.
Or maybe I could be getting mixed up with Crystal Palace, mate.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. Are you sure it's not Crystal Palace?
The winger. Well, then, go through the list and then I'll see if he's on there.
Right then. So there's been 18 players from either squad that have played for both players, and this is one I couldn't remember. Philippe Albert.
That's who Amrit's just got the chat there. Andros Townsend.
Oh, Townsend. Yeah.
Is he on the list?
No, because he did go to Crystal Palace, didn't he?
Right. And then you've got Louis Saha, I've just remembered.
Yeah, Peter Beardsley.
Wow, didn't know that.
He went to them in 97 to 98. Paul Bracewell.
Didn't know that either.
He went there obviously post us. Dan Byrne was there in 2013 to 2015.
Wow.
Lee Clark, Andy Cole, obviously. Damien Duff, as you've said, Alan Goma, Danny Guthrie, Aaron Hughes, Shefki Kuki was also there before he came to Newcastle. And then you've got Kevin Umbabu, Mitrovic, as you've said, Alan Nielsen, the Scotty Parker, Wayne Routledge. I forgot he'd gone there. He was another one that I couldn't remember.
That's a load of those names that I would never have associated
with Fulham. Now, Louis Sahar, as you said, and last but not least, our very own Matty Target was there in 2017.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So that's it. Superb. Well done to everybody who got any of those right. Like I say, we've had to rush that a little bit because Wynne, bless him, he's got an appointment this afternoon. So we would have made it a little bit longer if we hadn't got to disappear. But anyway, we only thought about doing a 60-minute show this morning. We will be back on later on, I believe, talking about any other stories that are going on, but I will wait for Chris to confirm that. Please, please subscribe, hit the like button if you've enjoyed the show. It just helps us get further as a channel. And like I say, if you hit the bell, if we do upload, because like I say, majority of the time we are all live, always live. So if you hit the bell, you'll get notifications as soon as we're becoming or getting close towards that. But until later, I suppose we have to say it's a goodbye from him.
And it's a goodbye from him. How are the lads?
Lassies and bairns. See you on the next one.
Catch
Thanks
you
all
later,
for
folks.
watching. Thanks for
Da, 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 da,
da,
that's all,
da,
folks.
da. That's all, folks.